Employers in Butte are looking to hire as they anticipate some of the quarantine restrictions being lifted.
When asked about reopening, Yellowstone National Park officials say it's complicated. I'm John Shearer, and coming up, what some leaders in the park are hinting about a possible date.
6:30 on this Earth Day Wednesday. Chet Lehman, Caitlin Corbett, Matt Elwell with you here. A beautiful day yesterday, Matt. I got in a nice ride. Saw a couple of sandhill cranes, social distancing.
You heard them, I'm sure. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. We're seeing all these stories. I know that there's that we're starting to see maybe some hope for people coming out and being able to get back to normal. But it's interesting because conversation with my oldest child, was supposed to go to Washington, D.C. this year. Kind of a tough conversation that isn't really a reality. And right. I think it's hard for the kids, but as much the parents and the administrators and the teachers.
It goes far beyond this summer.
Yeah.
That's the reality of what we're dealing with. Getting back to normal is never going to be truly normal.
Tough lessons to learn for a lot.
Sure.
We are seeing temperatures get back to normal today as well, likely to be back even above average temperature-wise as you head into the afternoon. We're seeing 30s and 40s this morning. The afternoon should top out into the 60s. We're going to add a little extra cloud cover as you head into the afternoon. The evening could bring some rain showers and cooler temperatures as you head into your Thursday and Friday. We're going to break it all down for you, of course, coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Well, almost after 4 weeks of life-altering directives, we could see some easing of those restrictions put in place to prevent and control COVID-19. Non-essential businesses were ordered to cease operations back on March 26th, most activities prohibited. The time for Bullock's news conference is yet to be announced, but we will let you know when we know and also broadcast it live on air and online. And when the green light is finally given to reopen the state, who will be the first to post a help wanted sign? MTN's John Amy has been looking around town in Butte for an answer to that question.
The coronavirus may have weakened Butte's economy, but there's still hope for job seekers.
There are jobs. We have jobs right now. We need to find the right people to fill them.
Express employment professionals in Butte continue to get calls from employers seeking workers.
We have a few facilities looking for nurses' aides, nurses, things like that. And then also in the realm of cleaning and sanitation, housekeeping, and we've seen manufacturing stay up.
Experts say people who lost jobs or had hours cut can take the time during the quarantine to improve the resume or learn additional skills for the workplace.
I think now is a good time to take an online course, even just preparing to work again, to improve yourself, improve your skills.
In anticipation of some of the restrictions being relaxed, some employers in Butte are starting to seek employees so they can be ready when business gets back to normal.
And maybe they can't hire right now, right this minute, but they have to do it very soon so that they can train and be ready for more business.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
In other headlines this morning, Montana senators are optimistic about how the state will rebound from the coronavirus shutdown, but they're also saying it will take a phased approach geared towards different circumstances. MTN's Dennis Bragg recently spoke with both senators.
Senators John Tester and Steve Daines have had some differing viewpoints over how we're dealing with the pandemic. Tester has been more critical of the rollout of stimulus funds and assistance, while Daines is more praiseworthy of the efforts to help individuals and business. And while they each have their own perspective on how the country should reopen after this long shutdown, both are expressing confidence that Montana's community support and ingenuity will help us in the recovery.
We just need some common sense. We prepared for the worst, but thankfully, looks like the worst isn't happening. And so now it's time to think about a phased approach. We can safely reopen this economy and get people back to work.
And that phasing is really the key to this whole thing, isn't it? That's what you have to look at. You have to address, not unlike the rest of the country. Not every county or every jurisdiction is going to maybe have the same solutions.
We very much need to have individual state-based and even county-based solutions. What's going on in New York, that's a very different scenario than what's happening here in Montana. And even within Montana, we have differences between counties.
I really do honestly believe that things could return to normal really quickly if we get tests, and hopefully a vaccine will come shortly thereafter. And really, that's really what we need to focus on in a big way. I can tell you, there's a lot of businesses out there that are saying, you know, what are we doing? I'm closed. I shouldn't be closed. This isn't that big a deal. All I would say is just take a look around and listen to the folks that are in the fields of science. And I will tell you that we've got to take this seriously. If we don't, it will become a massive, big problem.
In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
Just ahead of 6:36 now, Yellowstone National Park shut its gates to the public a month ago. So the question is, when will it reopen? MTN's John Shearer reports that's not an easy question to answer.
Yellowstone National Park is 2.2 million acres of mostly wilderness. It seems like it would be easy to reopen for a public itching for a wide open place to roam.
You end up having a large population of people that come to the park, and they don't just spread out.
Park Superintendent Cam Shawley points to the most popular parts of the park, like Old Faithful and Mammoth Hot Springs.
You know, that last weekend I mentioned before we closed, there were people, a massive number of people here at the Mammoth Terraces.
Shawley says he doesn't know if that will change when the park reopens, but what about all that wilderness?
Being in the backcountry, Yellowstone will probably be one of the best places to be in this country during this summer.
Saley wants access for his guided horse trips. Shawley says that a van load of 15 people may not work out this summer.
You know, maybe it's got to be 2 vans now.
Shawley emphasized that when the park closed, it was done at the insistence of neighboring communities like Gardner, Cook City, and West Yellowstone. And he says it was not just to protect the public and park employees, but also members of those communities.
You know, there might be a way to ease into this and not just have like full open, normal, overwhelming amount of people coming in right away.
Though he refuses to commit to specific dates, Shawley suggests the park could open in phases beginning in just a few weeks.
That might mean that we don't do hotels initially. Maybe it's all cabins.
A park entry by reservation only was suggested. Shawley says that's on the table, but he just can't forget that last weekend the park was open.
Before we closed, I would suggest that there was a large number of people that were completely either obtuse or ignoring social distancing guidelines.
Shawley promises close cooperation with health departments in neighboring counties on any reopening decision. In Bozeman, John Shearer, MTN News.
Yellowstone lodging concessionaire Xanterra announced in March it would open for the season on May 22nd, but now the company says it is reevaluating that date.
And we will continue to update you on that information. Meantime, people have had to get creative when it comes to exercising during this stay-at-home directive. But as MTN's Nick Petriccioni stopped by a fitness facility to see when you can get back inside a gym for a workout.
The gym for many is an escape, a stress reliever, a routine. And that's been missing in people's lives for more than a month. But gyms like Prime Performance and Physio in Bozeman are preparing to reopen their doors.
Everything seems to say the 24th this is going to wrap up, and I don't know what that looks like as far as reopening, but at least we should be seeing an end of kind of the stay-at-home order here by Friday.
And gyms like the Ridge Athletic Club in Bozeman are working with the Gallatin County Health Department to find the best way to return to normal while promoting safety.
Our group exercise classes will have limited number of people. Our equipment will be staggering the uses for the equipment. Our team will be wearing face masks and gloves when needed, and we encourage the members to do the same.
Cherry also said they are waiting to hear how many members can be in the gym at once.
We're working on that right now with the health department, and we don't know if it's going to be just a number thrown out or if it's going to be based on square footage.
But what does this mean for you, the consumer? What are some gyms doing with the member fees you paid without getting to use the facility? Well, the Ridge froze their member fees, and gyms like Fuel Fitness will be giving that membership fee back as credit. But overall, they are eager to get back to work to provide you with the escape from staying home.
Physical activity is tremendously important. I think, for overall health, for well-being, for mental health. I think that would be a big push, is to get them open as soon as we can.
In Bozeman, Nick Petriccioni, MTN News.
Now, unless told otherwise, gyms around the area are planning on opening up this weekend. That, of course, will be dependent on what happens with the governor's announcement later this morning.
And that's going to be really interesting to see how all of that plays out and what happens. But the first coronavirus deaths in the U.S. were earlier than expected, much earlier. Where it happened and how is coming up. But first, here's your preview of what's ahead on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, the FDA commissioner tells us how the agency's first authorized at-home test for coronavirus can help in the fight against the illness. Also, we look at the serious problem of COVID-19 outbreaks in prisons and jails, where social distancing is not always easy. Plus, on the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, our Eye on Earth series looks at how hundreds of years of natural history can teach us about the problems we face today. And we'll talk with Pulitzer Prize-winning author Lawrence Wright, whose new novel predicted our current pandemic. We will see you all at 7.